everybody. I'm Devana. I am very pleased to welcome to Ronny of Trail of Tears Band to Alaridos Radio. Ronny, hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Devana. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm glad to have you today. Ronny, let's start by talking about your musical background. When did you fall in love with metal music?
Oh, well, actually, now you made me feel very old. I think that's the whole falling in love with metal or rock music came, I think, with my father, because my father always had a lot of records laying around, like old Alice Cooper, Uriah Heep, Led Zeppelin, Thin Lizzy, stuff like that from the 70s. And so I grew up like listening to a lot of the 70s or early 80s stuff. And, I'm a 78 model, so which makes me like 45 years old now. So I'm getting up there. But I think that was like a very important part of me for me to get into this kind of music. And of course, during the 80s, I started listening to bands like Iron Maiden, Wasp, Judas Priest, Ozzy. And then, things progressed after that, with more like extreme stuff like Slayer, Sepultura, Pantera, and then of course the 90s came along with the death metal scene and the black metal scene and things like that. And then, so things just kind of, kept building after that. So it's like a combination of different things that made me wanted to join a band on my own.
The band was formed in the 90s with a long career and 7 albums behind you. Correct me, please, if I'm wrong. You come back in 2020 with new members. How is the return going?
Well, of course, things have been kind of difficult for us after we initially announced our, like comeback. I don't like the word comeback, but I guess that's what it is, because we've been inactive for a long time. Yeah, reformation. Yeah, that's much better. But of course, we announced this thing back in I think October, November 2020. Mm-hmm. So we were still in the middle of the pandemic, of course, and I think at that point nobody had any idea that it was going to last as long as it did. So it's been really, really difficult. Of course, things started opening up a little bit in 2021, mm-hmm. and then everything started, shutting down again. So it was, at least for us, and I think for every other band or every other, kind of artist out there, it was really difficult to plan anything. Mm-hmm. And you saw like during 2020 and 2021, it was really difficult to plan, for example, touring. It was almost impossible. And you saw a lot of really big tours and a lot of big bands that had to be canceled or postponed and then postponed again. And then, eventually it becomes too time consuming and too economically difficult. So, but I think that, we said that we were going to go into the studio in October last year, mm-hmm. Which we did, and we started recording a lot of music, and you see, like now, we see every time we post like a picture or whatever we post, we are not very active on social media anyway, because we prefer to do it when we have something to tell. But everybody's like, where's the new album? Where's the new album? Where's the new album? Yeah. And we never said that there will be a new album in the first place. We said that we were going to go into the studio in October, and that's what we did. And we recorded a lot of music. We have probably enough music for an album, but we don't know if we want to release everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Because our experience now is that the last time we recorded any music, that's been 10 years ago. So it's a completely different world out there. And it's a completely different scene, and it's a completely different industry.
Yes.
And the last time I released an album was a few years ago. I was with another band. And that album disappeared completely after 2 weeks. And the reason for that is because you don't have like the necessary support system in your back, and you don't have the finances and the know-how and the resources to be able to really showcase your music and showcase your art. And so we are trying to figure out what kind of format we want to release our music. Are we going to release only singles? Are we going to release EPs? Or will there eventually be an album? We don't know yet. And we're talking also with different kinds of labels, and which there, by the way, are not really a lot left of. Yeah. There are a lot of like tiny, small labels. And I don't see any reason with signing with any one of those, because then we prefer to do it ourselves. And then we have full control over our music. So if we're going to sign to a label, it has to be a bigger label with the financial muscles to really showcase the band on both on social media and on the streaming platforms, and you know, how the industry and how the metal scene looks today, or the music scene in general. So we are still trying to figure out these things, and the only thing we can say is that there will be new music coming from us. In which format, we don't know yet, but we have several songs ready, and they're mixed, they're mastered, and everything is ready to go. But if we put this out tomorrow, it would drown in the gigantic ocean of bands out there, because there are so many bands and so many artists. And for a band like us who haven't released anything in 10 years, we would fall completely under the radar. Yeah. If we don't have the resources to put ourselves in the spotlight and in the front, on, you know, get on the right compilations and the right playlists and all these things. You know, it's a very, very, very complicated world, and it's a very costly world. So we have to take our time and do things the right way for us. And I think also people need to remember that this is not our job. You know, we do this because we want to, and because we think it's fun. Yeah. And it's not because we owe anyone anything, or a record company is breathing down our neck and say that, well, you have to come up with new music and you have to release this and that. We're doing this because we love to do it, you know, because it's a passion for us. And so, you know, if it takes 2 months or 2 years, it doesn't matter for us. You know, it's already been 10 years, and it will be there when the time is right.
Yes, the music is passion. We don't need any money or a lot of money. The important thing is people enjoying with your music.
Yeah, I agree with that. And but at the same time, you know, like you can make fantastic music, but if people don't get to hear it, it would be a waste of time, you know. So we want to make sure that we have the right tools, so that when we do release music, people will actually be able to know about it and to be able to hear it.
Completely agree. The next question, Ronny, is about your goals with the material music now for the rest of this year and the next one. Do you plan to go on tour, recording new songs, or something else?
I think those things are very connected, you know, and I think for a band like us, we need to. The most important thing for us now is to release some new music.
Yes.
Because without some new music or some kind of sign of life,
yeah,
we are not going to find any promoters or any big festivals that will take a chance on us until we actually prove ourselves. Because it's been so long, I mean, when a band hasn't released any new music in so many years, then you need to kind of to prove that like, okay, yeah, we can still play, and we can still write good songs.
Yeah.
so for us, that's the most important thing, and so I do hope that we can release some of the new stuff as soon as possible. And obviously, I think like for me personally, playing live is the ultimate experience. I mean, I have no understanding for rock musicians or metal bands who don't play live, because for me that is the very essence of being in a band, is to play live for people and to have that energy and that interaction with people, and to be able to show an international audience what you have made in your little bubble or your little rehearsal room in a tiny place in Norway or wherever it might be. So ever since we started out in the 90s, I've always been like, if we can't play live, I don't even want to be in a band, because that is such a big thing for me. That's such an important thing for me that that will always be like on the top of my list of things to do, And so if we can't continue to do that, then I prefer, to do something else. And so definitely the ambition is there to play live. Obviously, like I said, we are not going to be doing like long tours again. Like, you will never see me on a tour bus for 8 weeks, because I have a good job. I have adult commitments and obligations and mortgages and whatnot. I have important things in my life, so I cannot just say goodbye. I'm going to drink beer for 6 months, or but yeah, definitely some touring and some festivals will be in the future.
Ronny, looking back to your musical career, is there any experience on stage that you especially remember?
Yeah, I guess there are quite a few. I think the first time we did a big European festival, like a big European summer festival, that is a memory that I think will always stick with me. We did the Dynamo Open Air Festival in the Netherlands in 1999. And that was the first time we ever played in front of an audience that big. So we had just come off, I remember we had just come off a European tour with Tristania and the Sins of My Beloved, a couple of other bands. And we went straight from that tour to play Dynamo Open Air. And we played at, I think, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it wasn't in the middle of the day, but we played in one of those big tents. And there were 20,000 people there. And we were used to playing club shows, in front of maybe 500 people or maybe 600-700 people. And we came out there and it was 20,000 people. And at that point, we were still kind of kids, so we were not used to that at all. And I think we played one of the best shows that we ever did in our career. And I remember the record company people they were standing next to the stage crying and just like completely out of their minds. So that's like something that it still stays with me, even though we played bigger festivals like after that. But that was like, we went from a certain level to another level that was completely different and totally new. So, and of course you have those moments when you do something new, like whenever you come to a new country or a new continent. The first Mexican tour we did, for example, totally different audience. Like it was on a completely different level what we were used to. So, and yeah, of course, also some not so good things, but yeah, at least it's things that sticks in your mind. So
wow, it's an amazing remembers. Ronny, if you can choose, which artist would you like to share on a stage or work together on other musical projects?
you mean to play a show together, like or to tour together or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very difficult question because there are so many artists and bands that I like personally, but I don't necessarily think that we would fit together on like on a bill or a tour. But I think that I was always thinking very like commercially. So for me, like to think like from a commercial standpoint, I would like to tour with like a big artist, like that would like open us up to another type of audience. And that could be like I really don't care about styles or genres. Like if somebody put us with a symphonic metal band, like Within Temptation, or like a bigger artist in our type of genre.
Yeah,
that would be great. But I mean, I would still have the confidence to go out before a pop band. I'm sorry, I have no shame.
The importance
I have no
is
shame.
chemical, I suppose, is chemical with the band.
No, I mean, and it's not like I mean, I don't care about the money. Like it's like it's not about the money for me, because I already, if I was thinking about the money, I would stop doing this 20 years ago.
No,
I have a good paying job, like in my other life. So that's not why I'm doing this. But I think every band wants to, like, when you go out and you play live, you want to play in front of 20,000 people. You don't want to play in front of 36. Like not 36,000, but 36 people. I've played for 36 people, and I've played for 20,000 people, and it's a lot more fun to play in front of 20,000 people than 36 people. So I think just the bigger the better.
How do you prepare before each performance to connect with the audience?
I think you can't. I think it's impossible to prepare when it comes to interacting with the audience, because the audience you never know how they're going to react, and it's also very different if you are doing your own show, like a headliner show, or if you are a support band for another band, or if you play a festival. So you have, like, the audiences are very different, and I think you can never. You never know what to expect when it comes to the audiences. But what I try to do is that I try to kind of manifest the best version of myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think we all try that in the band. Like we just try to be the best version of ourselves, and give the best show that we can do. And if the audience likes it, then it's great. And then if not, then well, maybe it wasn't for you. So you can always just do your best, I think. And once we have like all our stuff, our gear, and the confidence and our equipment and everything, like, and if the locations are good, then that's all we can do, and everything else is kind of like outside of our power, and there's nothing we can do with that. If there's some people there who hates us, then okay, your loss. It's not, we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, between us, I hope that I will be able to see you on a stage in Gran Canaria.
But it's actually, yeah, because you live in Las Palmas, or?
Yes, I live in Las Palmas.
Okay, Las Palmas. because I actually played a lot in Islas Canarias.
Wow.
But not with Trail of Tears, but we did. I don't know if you know this little Norwegian festival called Canarias Hard and Heavy.
I don't know.
It's a very it's like a small, tiny festival that was organized by a Norwegian woman who used to live in Islas Canarias for a long time.
Okay.
And she had this thing called Canarias Hard and Heavy. I think it was in Maspalomas.
Okay. It's true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I don't
we
remember
play there
who I
actually.
am.
Yeah, we play there actually with. I play there with two other bands, Viper Solfa and Profane Doorbell. So I did actually 3 or 4 shows in Islas Canarias.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ronny, would you mind to send a message to the audience that is watching you right now, please?
Well, how many viewers do we have now? Is it more like local or is it more in?
A message for our fans, or include people who start a musical career, and you can be an example for them.
Well, if it's like you mean like an advice for someone starting up, I think I think people who start out today, they are like probably half my age, so I don't think they need advices from an old man, because I think what worked when I started out wouldn't necessarily work today. So maybe they can give me some advices instead. But I think if I was to give any advice, it would just be to try to just be yourself. Try to be yourself, and don't try to be someone else who did something better 20 years ago. Because you're just going to be a copy. Try to do something new. That's what we did when we started out in the 90s. We were one of the originators with this kind of music, and it's kind of mind-blowing to me now to see all these kind of bands, the members weren't even born when we released our first album. So I'm not ashamed to say that we were one of the first bands, we were one of the originators, and we were one of the creators of this kind of music. Yeah. And we did that by thinking new. We thought we like to think in new ways, and that's the best thing I can do. Or the best thing I can advise is to think for yourself and try new things. Don't try to copy anyone. Don't try to be as good as anyone else. Just be different.
Thank you so much, Ronny, and that's all. Again, thank you so much for joining me. It was so nice sitting down with you today. Now we enjoying a video clip of Trail of Tears. Ronny, please, could you introduce your song, please?
I don't know which song you're choosing.
Your favorite. It doesn't matter.
Well, we don't really have any official video clips, so but there are some live clips out there. I think there are some pretty decent ones from the Metal Female Voices Fest in Belgium that we did a few years ago. Mm-hmm. There is one at least from Splendid Coma Visions. Okay. So if you can find it, maybe play it.
Okay. Oscillation is okay for you?
Whatever you want to do is fine, so there's a lot to choose from. There are 7 albums, so 75 songs, so whatever you want.
Okay then. Well, It's surprise.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Ronnie, again, thank you so much. Before this, I remind that Devana watches you from the shadows. And by the way, sweet
Okay.
nightmares. Bye. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.